You are not lost. I can tell that right now. It feels like you've always known where you were going in life. You always knew what the next step was. You always knew what your next move was, where you were going, right? The path forward. And for the first time in your life, you don't know the path forward. Oof. And there it is. Oop, there it is. And there's something really beautiful about this. And there's also something really scary. There's something really scary that's coming up. And it feels like for the first time in your life, you're not following this path that was told to you, made for you, right? Like you're you're listening to the own beat of your drum and you're starting to walk your own path. And this can be really scary. And there's a part on this journey where you don't know where you're going, but you know you're going to get there. But you don't know where there is, but you know you can't go back. There's just like this deep feeling that I can't return to where I was. I mean, I'm not saying that that's actually been closed off, right? Like that you physically can't, like you can, but energetically and emotionally, you can't. It's not an option. It's not a choice. It's not even on the game board. And there's something really scary about walking to the beat of your drum and moving in this way for the first time in your life. There's also this really beautiful and exciting energy with it, but it feels like the fear sometimes overpowers that excitement. And Spirit wants you to know that you're finding a balance in that. One thing that's coming through is that anxiety and excitement are the same emotion, but you feel them differently depending on the vibration or the frequency that you are on. So, new things, when you're in a scare based mindset, scarcity based mindset, are going to feel anxious and fearful. But when you're in a hopeful and appreciative and gratitude, right, frequency, then it feels like excitement. And it feels like you're experiencing both of these in different ways. And there's a balancing out that's happening right now. 222, as I'm saying that. Like I'm seeing 222. Because it feels like there's this rebalancing that's happening. And this is so that you can fully let go of this old version. So you can fully release this old way of living, this old way of being, this old way of functioning. You've outgrown this. And you have been guided and you are being guided to choose a different path, to choose a new way forward. And it feels like the people around you don't understand. And they're also just not able to see this perspective or this way because it's not their time to see this way of moving, to see this way of living, to see this way of life. And so it feels like you've been receiving a lot of projections from other people around the choices that you're making right now. And not making sense is kind of what's coming through. So this feeling that it just doesn't make sense to other people. And the truth is, it's not supposed to. It's only supposed to make sense to you. And as long as it makes sense to you, then that's all that matters. And I guess you're finding this because, and this has found you because there is a part of you that makes sense of this. There is a part of you that understands what is going on. And it feels like you can't fully wrap your head around it, right? Like fully logically understand it. But there's a deep feeling and a deep knowing that this is the path forward for you, and this is the movement that you're supposed to be going towards. This is the way you're supposed to be going. The only way I can describe it is like this very just deep knowing. And that sounds crazy to the outside world, right? Like, we don't talk honestly about intuition and, gut feelings. I mean, most of society teaches us to ignore those things to fit in, right? And I think that you did for a really long time. At least you tried. I'm not sure you were able to completely fit in, right? Which is partially why walking this journey has been difficult, but then there's also been easy things for you or easy ways for you because you were never meant to fit in, my dear. It's actually your superpower, it's your strength. You were always meant to stand out. And that's actually what's going to move you forward is your ability to stand out, is your uniqueness, is your beautiful, unique, and original blueprint that only you have access to, that only you understand and only you know. And it's something that you feel. It's something that you learn to move with and feel as you move with. It's not something that you think through or you plan out. And it feels like that's definitely where you've been in the past. And, that's very much a survival way of being. And it's also the way that we're taught to function in this society, right? What's your 5-year plan, is what I just heard. And maybe you were somebody who had one. Maybe you were somebody who had, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, like all those different things. And then one day, sorry, my alarm went off. Confirmation. But maybe one day you woke up and you realized, I don't want to be on this journey anymore. I don't want to be on this 5-year plan. I'm over it, right? There was a time when even when you were making the 5-year plan, it didn't feel like congruent to what you actually wanted. Like, it feels like you asked yourself in those moments, like, is this really what I want? Can I really see myself doing this 20 years down the line, 5 years down the line? You would look at people who had been doing what you were doing for so long, and you'd ask yourself, like, how did they do it? How did they keep going down this? How did they make that work, right? How? Because there's a part of you that never really felt congruent to that. You never really felt like you were able to maintain this path for that long. And that was your first sign that you were never meant to. But it was hard for you to maybe like take that in as information that that was truth, right? And that's okay. We all receive and understand and move through things and get things at different points in time. And sometimes we receive the messages or the alarms over and over and over again. And it takes so many rings before we answer that calling, before we answer that feeling, before we follow that path. And that's okay. It's part of your process. But you've been having the calling, it's been ringing, the alarm's been going off for a little while now. And you're finally stepping into it and finally starting to walk towards it. And that is so brave, and yet it is so scary. And there's just a lot that comes up in that process. And releasing the way that you used to do things is probably one of the hardest things. You know, you were a go-getter. You were somebody who got things done, who made ends meet when you needed them to, right? And that motivation to push in that way is just, it's just gone. It's just not there anymore. And so you're meant to melt into this gentleness, into this ease. You're meant to move through this slowly. And for the first time ever, it feels like you're slowing down and forcing yourself to slow down. And that's scary. And it's bringing up a bunch of different emotions and feelings and things like that. And they're coming up because they're meant to come up to be released. They're meant to come up so you can move past them. These are the old stories that have kept you in this version of yourself for so long. And so these feelings are connected to these old stories, and they're coming up so that you can truly just drop the mic, drop the rope, drop the version. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not know where you're going, but to know that you're going to make it, right? It's okay that you're unsure on how that's going to happen. And it's okay to be afraid. Everything that you're feeling right now is exactly what you're meant to be feeling right now. And it's not meant to be dismissed. It's not meant to be pushed aside. It's not meant to be suppressed. It's meant to be felt. You're meant to learn how to hold that and yet still continue listening to your inner voice and your intuition and what you know to be true about what your path means moving forward. You may have tried to make ends meet in certain ways, and it feels like a little bit of pushing, right? And functioning in that old way of getting things done, go getter kind of attitude, and kind of backfired or blew up in some ways, or it didn't play out the way that you wanted it to play out. And that's because you were still coming from that energy of like needing to make things happen rather than letting things just unfold for you, rather than trusting and surrendering into the unfolding of your life. The more that you can surrender and be in this unfolding and be in this stillness and in this silence and in this nothing, the more you're going to receive what the path is forward, what the next step is forward. And you need to leave the space there for that to be able to come in. And so let yourself just rest. Let yourself just be. Let yourself be present as much as possible. And only participate and do things that bring you excitement, that bring you passion, that make you feel good. And let that start to be your guide. Let your heart start to lead you forward. When you're functioning in this place of needing to get things done and needing to make ends meet and needing things to happen, you're functioning from the mind, not from the soul and from the heart. And this pathway forward is asking you to function from the soul, function from the heart, and asking you to get control over your mind. So I'm seeing the King of Swords in my mind's eye. And what that's saying to me is you're learning right now how to get a hold of your mind, how to get control of your mind, how to not let it control you, but rather you learning to move with it in some ways, like not let it take over you. And that mastery is needed for this next path forward. And you need to be able to let yourself feel and let yourself have those thoughts, but not connect to them. So, what's coming through is kind of like this mastery of detachment in regards to becoming more of an observer of those thoughts rather than someone who is attached to them or believes the stories behind them or stays in the cycling of them. And the more that you're able to do that, the more that you're going to be able to not play into this old needing to make things needing things to happen kind of energy, the more you're letting life just unfold in its own natural rhythm, and the more you will move forward in that way. And so I am hearing that there's a little bit of a kink in your hose when it comes to that. Every time you try to make things happen, you're kinking the hose. And so, and that's the flow, right? I always think about that as the flow. And so let yourself unkink that hose. Let yourself trust in the flow. Let yourself trust in the rhythm. Let yourself trust yourself to know that when you leave space, when you leave time, that everything is going to work out for you and everything is going to fall into place. That what is needed will find you. That what you're looking for will come. It's probably one of the hardest parts of the journey in some ways. That trust piece, especially when you've always had to wait for the shoe to drop or you felt like you've had to be super successful or do everything yourself, right? To be able to make ends meet, to be able to live the life you wanted to be able to feel safe, right? This is asking you to find safety in a different way, a way that you are capable of finding safety, but a way that takes patience and a way that takes compassion and understanding and giving yourself grace. And most importantly, slowing down, letting yourself move with ease and slowness. You are moving into the most beautiful chapter of your life, book of your life, whatever you want to call it. This is heaven on earth kind of energy. And you are moving towards this faster the more that you can just let go and let be and just let things unfold the way that they're meant to. You're safe and you can do that in a safe way, and you deserve that. My name is Crystal Clear Mystic, aka Crystal Hoban. And if you feel called to work with me, you can find my link in the bio. I love you so much. Keep going.